I don't have you on the X.
Maybe I'm muted. Hold on. I was muted. Should be good now.
Cool. Got you. Sweet. For some reason the YouTube isn't live. Let me troubleshoot that real quick. While I do that, YouTube event cannot be edited. Oh, here we go. Now we're live on YouTube. While I get everything else going, we were just talking about the markets. Obviously it's been tumultuous couple of days. So on Sunday, just to give everyone a quick recap, um, the DeepSeek came out, and this has been kind of on some radars. It just kind of became like top of the news feed, but it's been on everyone's radar for a little bit, I think, and then it hit the mainstream. But DeepSeek is a basically a Chinese quant firm, quant trading firm that came out with their own AI model called R1, and they essentially are claiming that they trained this model with only using $6 million in capex, and they're also well, and that's what they're claiming. And then the part that they're not claiming it, but they've actually proven is that their model is essentially as good as ChatGPT or very close to it. And that's kind of shaken up the entire market. You've seen kind of a really quick bleed out of a lot of different stocks and valuations. Nvidia kind of being the biggest loser. It gapped down like well, yesterday it made headlines for losing about $500 billion in market cap um, because of this news. So this kind of broke news on Sunday night, which is why crypto just decided to tank. And then from there it's kind of been evolving, but we saw it hit the stock market, and the Nasdaq was down like 3% yesterday, obviously driven by Nvidia. So yeah, I mean, this doesn't really affect crypto. It doesn't really have any effect on crypto, in my opinion. But I think what's happening is just people are realizing, I think people are feeling a little bit of FUD, feeling a little bit of fear. And then you have a news like this, and people feel like it's they got to take money out of growth, out of risk assets, and crypto is obviously at the top of the list. So I think that's essentially what's happened in the markets. And then you've obviously got all the things happening with Thorchain. So before we get into the Thorchain stuff, Mitch, what has been your kind of take on the markets over the past few days as this kind of deep seek ripple effect has happened?
Um, I'm sorry. I'm currently trading Rune.
We'll get to Rune in a
Oh,
second.
why do things have to pop up now? Yeah, Monday morning sucked for stocks because I had a handful of swing positions I was in that gapped down very largely and went from profits to losses. And you know, who knows? You never know if stuff's an overreaction or not. I haven't even actually looked at the stock market yet today to see what Nvidia is doing specifically. But I what I found interesting is that whole DeepSeek thing with basically open source, and I was just like, huh, interesting. Like sounds like you know, crypto, so to speak, is creeping into the private, well, I would say private sector, but with China, it's probably public sector. Um, so that's interesting to see. Obviously, if they indeed accomplished what they said they accomplished, yeah, that's a game changer in terms of the impact on, not just US stocks, but just chip stocks on a whole and just the overall, I think, cost and valuation of the whole AI space. So should be interesting to see how things play out over the next week or two as more information comes out. Also, you can go to the opposite route with conspiracy theories in terms of, China. It's like, all right, sweet, DeepSeek is, you know, their next Trojan horse-esque to gather all the information and control all the information. Um, I always joke that TikTok is a Trojan horse because they're essentially, uh, you know, capturing the attention of all the younger generations, and essentially, can push whatever agenda they want using algorithms. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I saw something about it said um, DeepSeek can do like all the stuff, blah blah blah, to like 90% the same um, net benefit or whatever. Like it's like 90% is good, yet it's only because like a big thing I saw was and why it's so much cheaper in terms of the computing power is that they're only doing 8 decimals instead of like 32 or something like that. And that's why the computing requirements are, a fraction. And then it said like, and you're getting like 90% the same result, um, but cutting it down that much. So who knows? I don't know. I read it as, all right, so it's cheaper and faster, but you made it a little bit dumber. That's kind of what I gathered from it,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Maybe I'm being critical. I did see that because basically, like someone described it as right now, AI, like the way they're building these, ChatGPT and things like that, is that they're trying to make like the one thing like almost like God in terms of like it's an expert at everything. Like it's an expert doctor, lawyer. And apparently what DeepSeek did is instead of having one thing that knows all the things, it's like multiple, it's like let's say like 8 professionals
Fragmented.
instead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so and that makes sense from an efficiency standpoint. So I don't know. It's like I said, it's all interesting, and you know, my punchline to all of that is always the same. Skynet is coming.
Um, Yeah, my take on it has been that it's, slightly not as good as ChatGPT, but the reason why people are so, kind of headstrong about it is that it was so cheap to train, according to that what they've said. So there's a couple issues I have with this story and the way the market's reacted. And one, none of this is confirmed. I mean, how many times have we heard Chinese firms say something that isn't true, especially if it can hurt American markets in some way. So I don't know. I think the market's a big overreaction to this, and we've seen it kind of rebound a little bit today. Honestly, it didn't rebound as much as I expected it to. Like the Nasdaq is basically flat, um, and the S&P is up 0.75%. Bitcoin's just kind of been fluctuating, and you know, it's there's this whole thing with innovation, and that's if you constrain startups, they'll find a way to innovate forward. They'll find like the right startups will essentially find another workaround. They'll find a way. And obviously I have a very intimate knowledge of that, whereas when something's not working, we just find a way to make it work. So what I think happened here is there was an export control on H100s from NVIDIA, which is the main chip that people use to train these AI models. And that constraint led a firm like DeepSeek to create a workaround, which is to train their model differently than everybody else and to find a more efficient way to do it because they didn't have the H100 access that they needed or that everybody else had. So you just necessitated innovation out of a firm that obviously wanted to do something and wasn't going to take no for an answer. Um, the fact that it's all open source, in my opinion, and I posted a tweet about this yesterday. Um, the fact that it's open source, I just don't understand the overreaction. If anything, this just means, yeah, maybe it's bad for NVIDIA because people won't need as many chips. Um, but in my opinion, doesn't this just mean that we can more effectively scale AI? Like why does it mean that we need like I don't think suddenly tomorrow everyone's gonna be like, yeah, by the way, we don't need any more H100s. Like I think now it's just we still want as much compute as we can, but now when we go out and use that compute, it's just going to be more efficiently used. Like we're going to still use it at a growing scale, but now our models are going to be bigger and better than ever before. I don't understand, and especially with an emerging tech space like AI. it's not like we're at the, it's not like we're at the, end of the curve where all the innovations already happened and now we're just eking out, 1, 2, 3% gains. I mean, we're still in a order of magnitude per day type of environment where, there's always new there's always new models, there's always new hardware, there's always new software, there's new open source models. I just think that if anything, this is just going to push the industry further forward, and I don't see why that would be a negative. If anything, I think that's a positive. Um,
Oh
so
yeah. No, I mean, on a whole, it's a positive. It's a negative for, maybe some of the, AI related companies, so to speak, in terms of profitability and things like that. Because yeah, I mean, a company like Nvidia pretty much had this moat and like almost name their price, and that's only going to last so long. Because like you said, people are going to find a way to do it differently because it's like they don't have the access to the amount of chips they need or the capital they need to get the amount of hardware necessary. So they're like, all right, how can we do this more efficiently, right? And that's how innovation, happens very often. So it's a net benefit for the small player. I saw someone
yeah,
write a long post about that, like someone from just like the regular investing world, and it talked about how if DeepSeek is what it says it is, it's such a huge opportunity for like small businesses, right? Because now, the access, like it's become so much more accessible now, right? As opposed to in the past where there was such a high barrier of entry, right? So you can only have your Facebooks and Teslas and whoever else, doing AI things. Now, small businesses, could potentially be in the game now to create AI based products.
yeah. I mean, and that's how all innovation really works, is that it starts out super expensive, and then you know, the further the industry progresses, the cheaper it gets for the end consumer or the businesses that can kind of tap into it. Like the internet was really expensive. Cell phones were a status symbol. At one point because they were so expensive, and the innovation always trickles down as a net benefit to the smaller consumer and businesses. So I see this as a net positive for the industry in the long run. But I don't think. For some reason the market's not seeing it that way. The reaction and kind of drama around it has been a pretty heavy overreaction in my opinion. Outside of Nvidia, like I think the Nvidia reaction maybe a little, but at the same time, it's not like they trained these chips, or it's not like they trained this AI model with no chips. I mean, they still use chips. So um, I did see an interview from during Davos that uh, I forgot the name of the founder, but someone in the AI space was saying he thought that DeepSeek had like 100,000 H100s or something, but they just weren't reporting it publicly because they can't, because it's illegal for them to have those. So
I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
it does make a lot more sense that way. That they have a bunch of chips, but they're just not saying that they have them because they can't.
I mean,
So
not that any China-based entity would ever do something like that.
no, they would never lie, especially if it's a benefit to China and a negative to America. They would never do that. Um, so, anyways, it's been a fun time, and then we've got Thorchain. So, nice little segue into what's been happening with Thorchain. So in case you missed it, Rune, kind of started to plummet really with the rest of the market. But then what happened was, and I'll just give the brief version of everything, is we were at like $3.50 per rune, which was already pretty cheap. And then it started to go down, and then it hit $3, and then JP decided to post a tweet, which kind of ended up spurring the sell off. But he said if Rune hits $2.5, he would recommend pausing all lending claims and savers claims and withdrawals. So after he posted that tweet, it took, I think, less than 2 hours for Rune to drop from $3 to $2, and just create an entire flash crash. Um, and then they did end up pausing lending and savers claims. So that means that if you have a lending position, and we know someone who does, or if you have a savers position, your money is now stuck in the protocol. until they figure out a solution to allow everyone to withdraw. Um, there's a couple of interesting things around this. First of all, prior to this kind of freak bank run, Thorchain was worth, the Rune market cap was about $1.5 billion dollars. The total debt of savers and lending is about $200 million dollars. So you're talking about $200 million dollars worth of debt on a $1.5 billion dollar protocol. That's why I think, a lot of people weren't super concerned. There was definitely an overhanging concern, but I think a lot of people weren't all that concerned about it. And then, um, on top of that, the protocol generates over $30 million dollars a year in swap fee revenue. So, it's not impossible for the protocol to slowly pay down that debt and generate more value. It's not like you have a protocol that's worth, $100 million dollars and it's generating, say, $2 million dollars a year in fees, but then it has $200 million dollars worth of debt. That would be a really bad situation. Um, but Thorchain, like I said, is multitudes bigger than the debt, and it earns all this money every year, and that amount that they earn has been growing significantly. So I think there's a a path forward for Thorchain to pay this debt down in a way that doesn't hurt the protocol. I think it was just kind of a moment where everyone started to freak out and say, "What if?" And then, when people, it's like if you're in a crowded theater and you yell fire, everyone's going to run for the exits at the same time. People are going to get hurt. And even if there's not a fire, you create that panic and it creates a problem. So I see this Thorchain situation as the same thing. There was really a problem, but a fixable problem. But then when people started yelling fire, the problem became a lot harder to fix. So then they had to pause everything. I think Thorchain should have been more proactive about having some plan in place to allow claims to happen more slowly, like some sort of power down was what I was in favor of, which is kind of taking from the Hive model and saying, if you want to withdraw from savers or lending, do it over a long period of time. And, it comes in payments, and kind of spread everything out because like I said, the market cap and the revenue is big enough to handle the debt being claimed, but it's not big enough to handle a death spiral where everyone starts yelling fire, people start short selling Rune, people start claiming their deposits, and then everything happens all at the same time. And then you see the price of Rune drop by 50% overnight. Um, so that alone will create a death spiral. But if you allow those claims to be spread out, then I think it's all fine.
And I
So
think
I've
it
seen a
also
couple of
goes, yeah.
proposals about that.
Oh, that's good because I mean that's a way better idea and it goes over way better. You know what I mean? Because you're still giving people the option of choice, right? They still have a choice as opposed to just locking it up and be like, all right, sweet, like we're just locking this down. You can't get access to your money. Like that doesn't create positive vibes at all and doesn't make the user base want to, stay engaged or stay, loyal to the protocol, so to speak. So yeah, like a power down type scenario is 10 times better. I didn't know they were
Yeah, I
discussing
agree.
that. If they end up deciding that and announcing that, I think that will definitely um, give a little jolt of positive energy to the overall environment for the Rune camp right now.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, I think they just need and I would be in favor of something where the faster your power down, the bigger of a fee you pay. So like, if you want to power down, let's just say that the base fee is like 10%. Yeah, there's gonna be some people who are pissed off about that, but 10% is a lot better than the whole protocol dying. Um, so, maybe charge people 10% if they want to do a power down. And then if they want to speed that power down up, you can say like for every, 10% faster it is, you get 10% more of a fee. And you just have some sort of dynamic model there where people can take their money out. And if you're patient, you'll get, 100% of your money paid back to you. And if you're less patient, then you'll just get, 90% or 80% paid back to you, quickly. If you don't trust the protocol or whatever if you need the money quickly or whatever your problem is, that could be handled. The other solution I've seen that's kind of interesting is tokenizing the debt. and then allowing a peer-to-peer marketplace to emerge, and then allowing, kind of similar to my power down idea, allowing people to claim their their lockups, like claim their savers and claim their lending, but then spread out those claims somehow. I think it should be like time based, where like if you were early in, it goes like as if you're boarding a flight. Like there's like a group one, group two, group three, and you just kind of allow people to slowly claim. Um, and uh and while that occurs, you can have a peer-to-peer marketplace where I'm sure there will be people out there, there's plenty of people out there who would buy up the debt at some discount, and hold that debt knowing that one day they'll claim it. So I think there's a lot of really decent solutions here. I think it just takes, a couple different ones being proposed and then the community deciding which one they like the best. Um, in my personal opinion, I think something like tokenizing the debt and then doing a group one through 20 claim process is the best way to go about it. And then allow people to buy up all that debt. There's companies out there. There's people with more money than they know what to do with. And if they can buy up someone's debt for 80 cents on the dollar, they'll do it. I mean, they do it in TradFi all the time. Um, so. So yeah, I think that's where things are kind of headed for Thorchain. I personally, and I know that the headline question is, will Thorchain and Rune recover from this? My answer is I think I think the answer is definitely yes. I would say 99.9% sure yes. Just because of, like I said, prior to this crash, it was a $1.5 billion protocol that made $30 million a year in swap fees. And you're talking about $200 million of debt. So I think that the protocol is just going through, one of those moments that's happened to many crypto protocols. Like it's happened to Bitcoin with Mt. Gox. It happened to Ethereum with the, Ethereum Classic split. I think this is just another one of those moments where, the protocol is going to be tested. The community is going to be tested. Maybe there's that looming chance, that 1% chance that things don't recover and people leave and people say, fuck this, I don't want to be in this. But then there's that 99% chance, in my opinion, that the protocol recovers. And if you buy now, you buy when there's blood in the streets and you benefit from that in the long run.
That's generally how it works. Just got to be willing to, got to have the dry powder to put in and be willing to hold through some potential pain.
Yep. Money is made on the buy. You make your money on the buy. You don't make money because you buy something that everybody agrees is a really great idea already. That's like, that makes things a lot harder. Is like if you're contrarian and you buy something before people know it's a good idea, that's where the money's made.
Indeed. Um, to shift over towards Leo, well, Mcoin said the updated DHF proposal makes a lot of sense and should get much more support. I'm sure that you agree with that comment.
I do, and this was actually done like 30 minutes before we went live. It's something that I've been working on the past week, and talking to a lot of different hivers. I think I've actually been working on it for about 10 days now. So a lot of thought and work went into it, and a lot of feedback iterations, um, went into making that happen. And I'll just give like the brief synopsis. You can go read the post. Let me grab a link to it. Um, you can go read the post if you want the full details. But essentially, the feedback I got on our original proposal, which went live, early January, um, is that it was too expensive. So people were saying, we were asking for too much money. The original ask was for $480,000 throughout 2025. And that ask was so that we can do 10 more integrations like what we did with Dash, throughout the year of 2025, and spend $50,000 on marketing per integration. So there's kind of three main costs to these integrations. There's the technical costs of developing it and making it technically possible. There's the operational cost of our operations team, and then also our time spent working with their team and coordinating and all the things that kind of get wrapped up into, the day-to-day communication with their team. That's also a pretty significant expense. And then the third cost is marketing the integration once it's actually, live and done. Um, I've always been in favor, especially because the way that INLEO is structured, of paying the development costs. So I've always bootstrapped the development costs of building, INLEO and our ecosystem, and then paying the team salaries, the operations costs, of doing all this stuff. So I've always said that those things would be covered by INLEO. The third thing was the one that we were asking for funding on, which is to give us a marketing budget to go out and market these integrations, one by one, um, and spend, actually have a decent budget per integration in order to make each one successful. Because you can spend a lot of money on technology and operations, and I obviously do. But if you don't spend the money and time and resources to market those things, then what's the point? So we saw, a lot of success with the Dash campaign, and in my opinion, we're going to see a lot of success with each of the next campaigns. And I want to do 10 more of these in 2025. And I see Ahmad Manga just said this is the best time for you to have the base integration in the proposal. And yeah, I think, a join INLEO earn on base feature would do extremely well. There's a lot of people that use Coinbase. There's a whole target market out there for us to tap into. And we have the technology to do it. That technology did not exist before. So, now it's time, we've spent all this time and resources to get the technology ready. And one thing with partnering with these different ecosystems is that, and this is a common thing in crypto, they want to spend money on marketing, and they have very, very large DAOs. They want to spend money on marketing, but they want you to spend money on marketing too. It's like how you kind of co-invest in the partnership. You see this a lot with like exchange listings. Like you can't get listed on an exchange for free. You can't really do anything in crypto for free, which is a little bit ironic. But when you partner with these DAOs, they want you to have skin in the game. They want you to invest alongside them. So I've gone to these DAOs and I have the DMs open with them in order to do this. And they basically said, they're interested in the integration. They want to do it. They want to do, a join INLEO earn Arbitrum a campaign, for example, with the Arbitrum Foundation, or join INLEO earn SOL with the Solana Foundation. But the key is, we built the technology, we pay for the operational expenses, but then they want to do a co-marketing campaign where they spend $50,000 to market it and we spend $50,000 to market it. So, to make that happen for each campaign, I, put up the original proposal. That's how we got to that figure, which is, we're going to do 10 of these throughout 2025. And, if Hive covers the marketing expenses, we'll cover we'll cover the technical expenses and the operational expenses. But the feedback I got from that proposal was that it was too expensive. People thought that was just way too much money for the DAO, the Hive DAO, to invest in these 10 campaigns. Obviously, I think these campaigns are extremely worthwhile. I think you can see it with the Dash campaign. The Dash team literally posts about Hive and INLEO on a near daily basis now. They've made videos, they do X posts. They're out there literally on X Spaces, on a weekly basis, mentioning Hive, mentioning INLEO, talking about our technology and how it's amazing and it's one click and seamless and the best user experience in Web3. And we've really turned the Hive, or the Dash ecosystem into proponents for the Hive ecosystem that actually grow it. So I think if you can take that model and use it as a template to go out to 10 more ecosystems like Dash that are large. I mean, Dash is a billion-dollar ecosystem. So now imagine that you go out to ecosystems like Arbitrum, like Solana, like ChainFlip, like Chainlink, like Coinbase. You can go out to these ecosystems, and one by one, every time we knock over a domino, they get more interested in being integrated. So as soon as we did that Dash campaign, I literally started getting a flurry of DMs of other ecosystems that wanted to integrate what we had with Dash, and they want their own INLEO skinned UI where their users can come in and they can create social media content. They can earn in their native crypto, like Dash or SOL or Chainlink or whatever. And then they can buy premium. They can spend the crypto using premium, and then they can swap using LeoDex. So it's like I said, we've got this whole template. Now we need to take it to 10 more ecosystems, and I think we can grow, the entire Hive blockchain to a really large state that is very well known in crypto. Because every time you partner with an ecosystem like Dash or Chainlink or ChainFlip or Arbitrum, you're tapping into their entire network, and you're tapping into anyone who recognizes those blockchains. It immediately gives you legitimacy. So, um, the revised proposal is not actually changing anything from the original proposal. It's the same plan. It's saying, hey, let's go out, let's get 10 ecosystems integrated to INLEO with these join INLEO earn Dash style campaigns for each of their cryptos. And we're going to spend 50,000 because we've already agreed with these foundations to do that, because that's what they require in order to partner. We'll spend 50,000 on each integration. But on the original proposal, I was asking for the entire 50 because I was already covering the tech expenses and the operations expenses. And in the new proposal, I'm asking Hive to just match me. So I'm putting up my own. I believe that this is such a valuable path forward for Hive that I'm willing to put up my own $250,000 and have the Hive DAO match me, and then we spend the 50,000 on marketing. So I'm still covering the tech expenses. I'm still covering the ops expenses. And now I'll cover half the marketing expenses if Hive can cover the other half of those marketing expenses. So the ask has been cut in half. And I think these integrations, and I keep saying this as well, vote the proposal and let us do one integration at a time. Like, we're not doing all 10 at the same time. So we're going to do one at a time, pretty much like on a monthly basis, because we're going to spread them out throughout the year. So, each month we're going to do a campaign like join INLEO, earn Chainlink. And if you don't like the way the campaign was handled, if you don't like the results of the campaign, or whatever you think of the campaign, you can just unvote the proposal, and then the funding stops, and the integrations, will either stop or, they'll most likely stop if we don't have the funding. So, after each integration, you can reevaluate your position on the portfolio, on the proposal. And, if you don't think that things are going well, then that's up to you. I think that that's the key of the way the DHF is designed. It's a real-time funding mechanism. So if everyone looks at what we're doing and says this sucks, you just can unvote, and then it stops. So in my opinion, we need to keep pushing forward. I have ChainFlip, waiting for us to do this, and I know that the title of this space is related to ChainFlip. So we've halted our work on the social side of the ChainFlip integration. We're integrating ChainFlip into LeoDex, which we can get into. But the real key here is, we need to get this proposal pushed through so that we can get these 10 very large crypto ecosystems onboarded to Hive the same way we did with Dash. So essentially, the TLDR, the proposal is exactly the same as before. The revision is that the new post is a lot clearer. It's a lot more concise, because I know a lot of people said that the original proposal was really long, which I am well known for writing lengthy posts. So this one's more concise, and then we also cut the funding request in half. And not only did we cut the funding request in half, but I will be matching all the funds that the DHF puts up for this.
Nice.
So you can, the proposal links are all the same. And I saw a Mod Manga ask, or I don't know if it was a Mod Manga or someone else, but someone asked if you need to revote, and you don't. So all your votes carry over. You can, with DHF proposals, you can actually update them. I think we're only the second proposal ever in history to use the update feature on proposals, but you can actually reduce the ask, and you can reduce the time duration. You can't increase your ask or increase the time duration. So you can essentially lower the funding that you're requesting. You can't raise the funding, but when you update it, it doesn't change any of the votes. So everyone's votes still carry over. So if you guys haven't voted and want to consider voting so that we can keep growing this platform and growing the Hive ecosystem, please check out the proposal. I dropped a link. I'll drop another link. and help us out, help us spread the word about it. I've been talking to a lot of different Hive stakeholders, and just telling them about what our plans are, and I think the general consensus is I would vote this if it wasn't so much money from the DHF. So I wanted to resolve that, and quash that by putting up my own money, putting my money where my mouth is, and matching the proposal. Um, because I think this is really valuable for Hive. I think it's going to drive a lot of value in. Manga said, instead of a big proposal, why not ask for multiple smaller DHF proposals per integration? That will make people really choose better. So that was one of the solutions or ideas that I talked to some different stakeholders about. My problem with doing that is basically two key issues with that. One is I'm planning on doing one integration per month. So that would mean that I would need to do a DHF proposal every single month, which means that I have to re-campaign every single month for voting, for people to vote on it. I'm already stretched bandwidth wise. Adding, constant campaigning for the next proposal to my list of to-dos is, basically physically impossible. So I've already put a lot of time into one proposal. And then the other issue I have with that is some of these, we have to remember that Hive is a really nimble and agile community. A lot of these other foundations, especially as you get into the larger foundations, like the Solana Foundation, for example, they want like a 6 to 8 month lead time. So if I have to wait to put up a proposal for that, I have to give them a 6 to 8 month lead time before they like will agree to even start on things. So, we both need time, certainty, and I don't want to be constantly campaigning for each proposal individually. I also think the way the DHF is set up, it's better to ask for the total funding and then do things over time. And if people don't like them as we go on, then they can just unvote. And then that's like the real time. I think a lot of people forget that like the DHF, you don't just like ask for funding and then if you're voted, you get funding. That's not how it works. You have to get over the minimum funding line and then you have to stay over it because you get paid each day. You actually get paid every 20 minutes. So, the second that people say that you no longer deserve funding, you immediately stop getting funded. And it just stops. And then unless you can get voted back up. So, I think it's much better to ask for the total amount to have that certainty that we can keep going after each integration. And if people don't like the way things are progressing, they can just unvote and then be done with it. But like I said, I think this is going to be so valuable for Hive that, I'm willing to literally just put up my own capital for it because I think I'll make it back in the long run. I think there's going to be just so many new users and investors and capital, and I obviously own a lot of Hive. So, I think I'll make the value I'm putting up, I think will come back. Yeah, a tokenized society. I think splitting into multiple proposals would actually have the opposite effect. Even if the total amount was the same, people would complain that INLEO is milking the DHF by creating one proposal after another. I agree. I mean, and that's what, I think is people look at a proposal as a proposal. They're not like, oh, shard this into 12 proposals and it's equals one. Like then they'd say, well, you're doing 12 different proposals for the DHF. That's nuts. So so yeah, I think putting it into one and taking all the shit up front is a lot better. So uh so yeah, I hope that people look at this with a new lens and we already were 40%. I mean, we're 40% of the way to the funding line. So it's not like all hope was lost. It was just, there were some key stakeholders that said this is way too much money. But I kept reminding them, it might sound like a lot of money, but to do these integrations, we're talking about integrating with ecosystems that are worth multiple billions of dollars. Like Dash is worth $1 billion. What's Solana worth after all the volatility? Um, Solana is worth drum roll, $138 billion. So you're talking about
Bananas.
partnering with a $130 billion market cap ecosystem. And and a lot of them wanted us to spend north of $250,000 on marketing. I pre-negotiated to get down to 50,000. Hive's market cap is $200 million right now. So we're talking about partnering with an ecosystem that is many orders of magnitude larger than us. Um, and doing it for $50,000, which is, kind of unheard of in a lot of senses. So I decided to take that even further and say, at least just do it for 25,000 and I'll put up the rest. So it's I think it's a no-brainer, and I was just trying to help people see that it's a no-brainer. The only way I finally got around to anybody was to just say, if I match the DHF because I believe in it so much, would you vote the proposal? And I got a lot of people that said yes. So that's how we got to the point where I just said, let me cut it in half and I'll match the spend.
Well, and at the same time, you can look at it too as it being a good start in that, you know, there's been one, the Dash integration is your example, right? But it's also like just one. So, a lot of people need more than that, or it's to, kind of like, prove that this isn't just a fluke or whatever it is. So, you don't know that you do, let's say, two more of these, you might be in a position where you can then update the proposal again and, maybe, ask for more, go back to the original proposal. So I think it's very fluid. I don't think it's like, all right, this is the change, this is what it is. So, um, success breeds success. Success breeds, um, attention and even cooperation. So I think that if you guys do more of these integrations and they're showing a clear net positive, then it'll be easier in the future to have cooperation and maybe more favorable DHFs where you don't have to take on as much of the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
So, um, so a bunch of different questions and comments while you were talking about that. I do have my own question. What is the max characters on a thread if you are premium?
1,000.
All right. Well, task. I shall write long form posts that are 1001 characters going forward. You're welcome. That's in response to a little poke he had. So
Wow.
challenge accepted. Not the way he wanted. Also, I saw someone actually ask earlier, how many threads can I post in a day?
As many as you want, as many
That's
as
what
your
I
heart
thought.
desires. That's what we changed. Hive, prior to INLEO innovating threads, Hive had a limitation, a twofold limitation. One was a technical limitation, which is that you can only post a blog post every 5 minutes. That is still a technical limitation on Hive. We got around that obviously by using comments for threads. The second limitation is the social limitation, which is if you post a blog post every 5 minutes for 24 hours a day, uh, people would get really upset at you on Hive just because of the social norms around, content creation. So again, the way we got around that was by using comments. So prior to us literally inventing that, there were like limitations to how much you could post on Hive. So now there's no limit. You can do as much as you want. And if anyone has a problem with that, you're just making comments. So, they can, a lot of times comments don't even get rewards, but if they have a real problem with it, they can downvote you, and you won't be earning from the Hive rewards pool. That being said, those people tend to not have any Leo power. So we live in a InLeo is kind of a perfect mixture of a lot of different things. One of them is that we have our own rewards pool with Leo. We also get the Hive rewards pool too. So if someone on Hive disagrees with whatever you're doing, you may not earn any Hive. But people on Leo tend to agree with whatever as long as it generates value for the platform. So you'll earn Leo regardless.
Nice. Dagger 212 put something funny. How about asking the DHF for a Super Bowl commercial?
I'm
Back
sure
in the
that would go. I'm
day,
sure asking for $1 billion would go over real well.
right? I'm like back in the day when it was only $1 million for a Super Bowl commercial, like that would be feasible. But that made me also think about, I wonder if crypto Super Bowl commercials are indicative of market tops because we haven't seen them every Super Bowl, but remember the Super Bowl where there was the Crypto.com commercial with Matt Damon, and then there was some other crypto stuff, and that proved to be, I think, a top. I think that's when like didn't a lot of stuff hit the fan not long after that. But anyway, I found that amusing. I saw Sully Me mention that did a Hive to Rune swap on LeoDex, and it worked nice and easy. But I guess
Yeah.
the only issue is apparently the Rune or the correct amount of Rune is not showing in said wallet. So
Yeah, I know about this issue. We actually pushed a fix for it, but it seems to not be fixed. So I just sent a note to the devs about it. For some reason, when we call your rune balance from the API, it doesn't update. So we'll get that fixed. But yeah, I'm glad to see people using the Leo Dex swaps. We've made a lot of changes to the way that it works. So now you can do Hive swaps, HBD swaps, and SPS swaps, and then obviously also Leo swaps using one click. So it's one click aggregation. You also don't need the Arbitrum gas faucet was abstracted, so you no longer need gas. We cover the gas for you. So we've taken that out as well. So the user experience for Hive swaps on LeoDex is insanely good now. It's literally click one button and that's it. It just does it. And it just it
nice.
and speaking of all the marketing and stuff with Dash, Dash Joel from the Dash team did a huge space with like a collective millions of followers that were listening to the space and big accounts in the space, where he literally talked about, and I clipped it and posted it so you can find it on the INLEO X account. He talked about how Leo Dex and INLEO is like it just works. That's the user experience. Everything just works, and that's how it should be. You just want to do something and it just works. So uh, Thunk asked a good question. As a key store, I can't pay for premium with Liquid Leo. Is a fix coming for this, or do I need to send to Leo Dex and convert? Yeah, so you can now. This was launched with alongside the Splinterlands integration. You can now buy InLeo Premium using SPS and Leo. Um, but that's for like Leo Auth, Keychain, and Hive Signer accounts. It doesn't include key store accounts yet. So we'll we got to figure out a way to integrate key store accounts for paying with Leo. But the main target for key store accounts is that they can pay in whatever their native crypto is, which is like Bitcoin, ETH, USDC, or whatever. But we'll figure out a way to get Leo as a payment option for key store as well. My manga said, do ARB swaps work on Maya today? Yeah, they were halted for like 2 days for like 48 hours while the team pushed some updates, the Maya team. But yeah, they are live as of last night. So you can swap Arbitrum and Arbitrum assets again on LeoDex. And I'm really excited because the team and I just did a huge roadmap update for what we're working on now, and we're working on a lot of stuff for LeoDex. We're essentially rewriting the whole back end, creating a new framework for how swaps are quoted and formulated, and that is allowing us to integrate Thorchain, ChainFlip, and I haven't even announced this yet, but we're also integrating Rango. If you don't know about Rango, it's really interesting. They're an aggregator, and they can even aggregate to centralized exchanges. So they can use centralized exchange order books to swap your crypto through their order book and then output it to whatever your output was and send it to your wallet. So we're integrating all three of those alongside also having Maya already on LeoDex. So now as of right now, LeoDex only supports Maya assets and Hive assets because of our aggregation technology. When this new update goes live, we're going to also be supporting anything on Thorchain, anything on Maya, or anything on Maya we already do, anything on ChainFlip, and then also anything on Rango, which is pretty much everything. Rango supports almost every crypto. So once this update goes live, you'll literally be able to trade almost any crypto on LeoDex with very low fees. And then we're also tapping our aggregation technology for Hive into all four of those DEX protocols, Rango, Thorchain, Maya, which is already done, and then ChainFlip. And so you'll be able to swap Hive, HBD, and Hive assets with anything, literally like any crypto. Um, and it will just pick the cheapest route for you. So when when you choose, like, for example, let's say you want to go from USDT to HBD, it'll just give you the cheapest route to do that. You'll connect your whatever wallet you use USDT with, and then you'll hit swap, and then it'll swap to HBD using the cheapest route available. Ben Hass said, "Do I need Keystore for Leodex? No keychain." Keystore is my favorite option for Leodex right now. We are on the roadmap. We were just talking about wallet integrations. We're going to add, Control Wallet, which just requires an update because we already have XDeFi. Uh, we're going to add a couple other wallets as well. So we're actually looking at some wallet protocols for adding pretty much any wallet, including hardware wallets. But for now, yeah, Keystore is probably your best bet. And then when you click the Hive network option on the sign-in screen on Leodex, it'll prompt you to enter your Hive username. And then when you click Connect Wallet, it'll prompt Hive keychain. So my recommendation is, if you're going to use Leodex for Hive swaps, I recommend using a Keystore wallet and a Hive keychain wallet at the same time.
I'm going to answer this one. What number of threads should be created in a day to avoid spamming? All right, first of all, just asking that question already makes me frown. Um, let's just say probably not humanly possible. I mean, just don't post spammy content. Like post stuff that is either responding to someone's thread or a thread that has some kind of, I don't know, conversational topic. Like just don't post garbage. I mean, that's the answer. Otherwise, yeah, thread away. But yeah, I think the answer is the number of threads that a bot could post in a day. There's your answer. That would be spamming. But
It's
yeah,
yeah, I mean it's like I would use normal social media standards. Like if you're on X, what's spamming? I mean, you can post as much as you want. There's
yeah.
no standards around how much you can post. But if you're just posting like one letter at a time, like you just say A, B, C, and each one is a tweet, then people are going to say you're spamming. So it's like, use
Oh
that
my God.
framework.
I'm gonna spell out scaredy cat in one letter threads. This is gonna be epic.
And even then, I don't know that people are going to get super mad at you. Just if you clog up the feed, people will get mad at you. But even then, I
Yes.
mean, we need to get away from these cultural standards that have been kind of created because of blockchain rewards around timing and posting and all this shit. Like, I've been saying this for a long time. My goal with INLEO is you use it like you use any other real social media platform, like, X or Instagram or Facebook or whatever. You just use it to have fun or be informative or whatever. Um, and you don't worry about all this norms and standards.
Yes. The short answer is don't be a dumbass.
Don't be a dumbass.
That's the short answer.
Hashtag Scaredy Cat's Guide
There
to
you
Threading.
go. Yeah, because I mean, listen, everyone's a different boat. I mean, someone may decide, hey, this is all I'm gonna do. Like, I'm gonna spend my days threading. And if that's the case, then yeah, you're gonna be threading a lot, which is fine. Um, you know, and then there's other people that are gonna thread, 4 times a month, not naming any people. Um, I'm still more of a long form person, and I still don't even, and I probably do maybe 2 or 3 of those a week. I've become more of a consumer over the last couple of years than a creator. Um,
Yeah,
Task
and I've
mentioned,
done
oh,
16,000 threads, and Taskmaster's done 133,000 threads.
there you
So,
go. There's your
and
answer.
and
If you
here's how
don't
many
outpace
Mitch has
task,
done.
if you don't outpace task, then you're pretty safe of not spamming. Again, but it comes
Yeah,
down to quality of content, right? So, like
Mitch
Cal
has done over
said,
1,000 threads. Look at
have
that.
I? Wow,
Yeah,
I gotta slow down.
1,068.
Whew, I gotta slow down. I didn't think I even cracked 300. Gotta slow down. It's taking too much of my
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Um,
Gino, we do the AMA every Tuesday at noon Eastern. Same time,
yes.
same place.
Cat is not affiliated with INLEO. He's just a power user. He's just an original user that donates his time for comedy relief. and to piss off Taskmaster because he wants more quality content and not just my jokes. Um, Speaking of Task, I saw he did it with, I think it was ChatGPT. I forget which one he did it with, but anyway, he did it with Venice AI also, and Venice AI does not know about INLEO. He asked Venice AI about Leo, and it had no information. Sad face. So there's AIs out there that still need to learn about INLEO.
Yep, we gotta teach them more content.
There you go. I can't even. Uh, SCIG, succinctly put, intellectually. Yes, that is a much more pleasant way to put it. But, I just blame it on, I'm from New York, so I always say it the rough way.
Um,
Mod manga, put the emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
Oh.
Leo AI will know about Leo. Yeah, Leo AI knows a lot about Leo. Knows about each and every one of us. Sometimes I prompt it stuff and it's kind of scary because it's read all of your Hive content that you've ever made. And someone like me, I've been on Hive for almost a decade now. So it's got like a decade's worth of my written content
Bro, I
to be
don't
trained.
even, I'm just gonna ignore that thought. I don't want to think about how long I've been on Hive and on in Leo.
We've been on INLEO for 6 years because our 6 year anniversary is in July.
That's insane that it's been 6 years.
I know. It's
Wow.
nuts.
I'm gonna just go away and go in fetal position in the corner of the room and think about my life. Anyway, all right. Do we got any more good questions? Because we'll probably wrap up soon. We've been going for a little over an hour.
I think we're pretty much good. I just seen some comments. I need to read up on the DHF proposal so I can understand what it's all about. Yeah, you can check the Leo Finance account for that. Um,
I mean, apparently, the quote of the show, based on Threads, is "Don't be a dumbass."
don't be a dumbass. That'll be what we that's our tagline for today's show. Vic Van asked what we think about agentic AI. I think it's huge and has a lot of potential. We're going to have actually a couple different AI agents launch on the INLEO front end pretty soon that you'll be able to call for various tasks. So I won't give you too much information about that yet, but we've got some pretty interesting things on the AI agent front. And I've got a few different people, both from the community and from the team, working on different AI agents. So some cool stuff is coming on that front.
All right, just for a comic relief to end it, Task posted, Google says it will change Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America in Maps app after government updates. Oh my God, is that serious?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my goodness.
I like iJets. Don't be a dumb asset. Be Leo. I like that.
Oh man, I didn't see that. I gotta get back up here. There you go. Yep. Oh, now we're just getting all sorts of random comments. I
Yeah.
love it. Ben Haas asks, "Do you own an EV?" Cal, even though Cal's a big Tesla fanboy, he likes his speed and his rubber too much. So I'm pretty sure he's driving fast um, internal combustion engine vehicles still.
Yeah. I have a little bit of both. A little bit of both. Um, I did actually get an EV recently.
Well,
Um,
clearly I'm doing something wrong in life because I don't have both. So I need both money.
well, you got to have something to balance out the combustion engine.
That's
So
true. I need to increase my crypto bags. So paid on the bull run, which let's wrap up with, all right, everyone was talking about, alt bull market and when, and at this point now my next guess is like May because
really, wow.
otherwise it's not coming.
Wow.
I don't know. Like, obviously, it's
I
not
heard
coming right
February was
now.
a big month for Ethereum and altcoins. I also saw that Trump's World Financial Group or whatever has been purchasing large quantities of Ethereum.
Really?
Um, yeah, yesterday they bought like $10 million worth of Ethereum.
Well, it didn't
Um,
help the price go up.
no, well, that's what people are saying. So I don't know. Do they know something? I'm not sure. Is it just random? Possibly.
Yeah.
Uh, so
Well,
so
I
yeah,
mean,
I don't know.
February is always a volatile month, so maybe I mean, we might see some pump, might also see some pullback, but generally February is volatile, which you know what? That's fine too. There's wins there, creates opportunity, especially for those that actively trade or those that are um, providing liquidity in liquidity pools, because more volatility means more transactions, which means higher APRs. So. Uh,
Yep.
those those messing around on Pancake Swap and places like that probably end up getting higher yields if volatility kicks up. But cool.
Yep.
All right.
Use
Well,
LeoDex more. That's all I'm gonna say.
there it
We
is.
need we
Use
need
Leo
more people
Dex.
using it.
More Leo Dex, more liquidity, more fees earned.
Yep.
Makes the flywheel turn faster.
Yeah. I see Solomon did he was talking about the rune swap that he did. He did a 300 Hive to rune swap. So that's pretty awesome to see. We definitely need more doing that. And I'm glad to hear that it went really smoothly. So
Nice.
cool. All right. Well, that's all I got. Go check out LeoDex. Be ready for a lot more updates too. We just rolled out a pretty big update last night. You'll notice a visual update there, along with a couple other things. It's actually pretty cool if you load in two assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum, it'll have like the shade of Bitcoin on the top and the shade of Ethereum on the bottom, and then also the Leo token price is now at the bottom and always present there as well. Um, so
Hmm.
some cool updates there. Go play around.
Simple Game said, follow Trump's trade on crypto is like following Pelosi on the S&P 500.
You might
Dude,
do
I
really well
hope
doing that.
I was just like honestly, dude, I hope that statement is correct because if it is, then we're all going to be in good shape because Lord
Yeah.
knows Pelosi killed it over the last 10 years.
Yes, she did.
I actually saw someone post like a interactive like map that showed like S&P 100, S&P 500, and then if you would have followed Pelosi and it was started in 2016, I think it was, and she's up 9x. Like you'd be up 9x your money. And the S&P was up pretty good too, though. It was up like 4x. Um, and the big jump was after 2024. The first 4 years was like, meh, like doubled. And then after COVID, which makes sense because, I mean, hell, even home prices freaking more than tripled in pretty much. So stocks definitely mooned. But anyway, all right, well.
All right.
I'm gonna just wait around for the alt bull market. So hopefully it
Hopefully
happens.
soon.
Hopefully before next week.
Yeah, we need it next week.
All
We need
right,
it.
y'all.
All right.
Have a
Thanks,
good
Mitch.
one.
Thanks everyone for coming. See you guys
Later.
next week.